Have you ever wondered why we sometimes keep returning to the things that feel good, even when we know they might not actually be the best thing for us? Why do we procrastinate when we know something is important? Why do we sometimes choose comfort over growth? Why do we naturally gravitate towards the things that are enjoyable and familiar? The answer is not because we are lazy. And it is not because we don't know better. It is because every one of us has a part of our personality that naturally seeks enjoyment, a part that wants to explore, a part that wants encouragement, a part that wants life to feel meaningful and fun. Today we are exploring the child function, the happiest part of your personality, the part of you that still wants to play, discover, and experience the world, but also the part that, without guidance, can sometimes keep you stuck. Welcome back to your life code. In this series, we are building personality from the ground up. Rather than simply looking at personality types as labels, we are exploring the deeper structure underneath them. The cognitive functions that shape how we perceive information, make decisions, and experience ourselves. So far, we have explored the hero function, the part of your personality that feels the most natural and automatic. We have also explored the parent function, the function that supports you, guides you, and helps you develop wisdom. Today, we are adding the next piece of the puzzle, the child function. By the end of this episode, you will understand why the child function feels so enjoyable, why it can sometimes become an overused weakness, why it is always connected to the parent function, and why this relationship is so important for personal growth. Because understanding your child function is not about finding something wrong with yourself. It is about understanding what naturally brings you energy and learning how to guide that energy in a healthy direction. The child function is one of the most misunderstood parts of personality theory, and the first thing we need to understand is this. The child function is not called the child because it is immature. It is called the child because of the way it behaves. Think about the qualities we often associate with children. Children are naturally curious. They want to explore. They get excited about experiences. They want encouragement. They want to share what they discover. And they often have a natural optimism about life. That is the energy of the child function. The child asks, what is enjoyable? What feels exciting? What do I want to experience? Where the parent function often asks, what is responsible? What is wise? What is the right thing to do? The child asks, but is this fun? And that is actually an important part of being human, because a life that is only responsibility becomes exhausting. We need enjoyment. We need curiosity. We need moments where we are able to experience life. One way I like to think about the child function is imagine a child being given unlimited freedom. They would probably spend the day giving balloons and candy to everyone around them, not because they are foolish, but because they want everyone to enjoy the experience. The child naturally wants to create moments of enjoyment. The challenge is that children also need guidance, and that is where the parent function comes in. The parent and child are connected. One of the biggest ideas in personality theory is that cognitive functions never operate completely alone. They exist in relationship with each other. The hero function has a relationship with your inferior function, and your parent function has a relationship with your child function. These functions balance each other. You do not develop one without affecting the other. The parent and child relationship is especially interesting because it reflects something we see in everyday life. A child brings energy, creativity, and curiosity. A parent brings experience, guidance, and wisdom. A healthy relationship between the two allows the child to explore while still being supported. And that is exactly what happens inside our personalities. The child function brings enjoyment. The parent function brings direction. The child asks, "What do I enjoy?" The parent asks, "Is this good for me?" Both questions matter because the goal is not to remove the child. The goal is to allow the child to grow. There is one sentence that I think captures the entire relationship between these two functions. The parent parents the child. And I think this is one of the most important ideas in understanding personality growth and personal growth. Because your child function is not something you need to get rid of. It is not a flaw. It is not a weakness that needs to be overcome. Your child function represents a part of you that brings energy, curiosity, and enjoyment into your life. The problem happens when the child is left completely on its own. Because just like a real child, this part of ourselves needs guidance. The child says, "I want this. I enjoy this. This feels good." And the parent responds, "That's great, but is this actually good for you? Does this help you grow? Does this move you towards the person you want to become?" The parent does not exist to take away the child's joy. The parent exists to help the child use that joy wisely. A healthy personality is not one where the child disappears. A healthy personality is one where the child is supported, encouraged, and guided. The child brings the energy, the parent brings the wisdom, and growth happens when the two work together. Let's look at an example. The ENFJ has this function stack: FE hero, NI parent, SE child, TI inferior. The child function is extroverted sensing, or SE. SE is all about experiencing life directly. It enjoys new experiences. It enjoys action. It enjoys being present in the moment. It notices what is happening around it and wants to engage with the world. This can make ENFJs incredibly energetic, adventurous, and enthusiastic. The child function brings a sense of excitement. It says, "Let's experience this. Let's try something new. Let's enjoy this moment." But like any function, it needs balance. Without the guidance of the parent function, the child can simply chase experiences because they feel good in the moment. It can become, what sounds exciting right now? What experience do I want next? And this is where the ENFJ parent function NI steps in. NI asks, where is this leading? Does this connect with the bigger picture? Is this experience helping me move towards something meaningful? The parent does not stop the child from enjoying experiences. It helps the child choose experiences that have purpose. That is the parent parenting the child. Now let's look at the INFJ. The INFJ function stack is NI hero, FE parent, TI child, and SE inferior. For the INFJ, the child function is introverted thinking, or TI. TI enjoys analyzing. It enjoys understanding how things work. It enjoys exploring ideas and creating internal clarity. This is why many INFJs can become fascinated by theories, systems, psychology, and understanding the world beneath the surface. The child function loves asking, how does this work? Can I understand this better? Can I make this idea more accurate? And that curiosity is valuable, but without balance, the INFJ can get lost in endless analysis. They can keep refining ideas, keep researching, keep searching for the perfect understanding. And eventually the thinking itself becomes the goal. This is where the parent function FE provides guidance. FE reminds the INFJ this is valuable because it helps us connect. Knowledge is valuable because it helps us understand people. The parent brings the child back into relationship with the world. The parent raises the child. Now, there is another fascinating part of the child function. Sometimes, especially under stress, we can get stuck between the hero and the child. We retreat into what feels comfortable because the hero and child often share the same orientation. They are both introverted or both extroverted. And because they naturally work in a similar direction, they can reinforce each other. Instead of creating balance, they can create a loop. The hero says, this is what I naturally do. The child says, this feels good. And together they can create a comfortable pattern. The problem is that comfort is not always growth. Sometimes the thing that feels easiest is exactly the thing that keeps us from developing. This is why personal growth can feel uncomfortable. Growth often requires us to step outside the functions we naturally rely on. It asks us to develop the parts of ourselves that do not feel automatic. Before we finish, I want to briefly introduce one more idea. Traditional Jungian personality theory places cognitive functions into a specific order: hero, parent, child, and inferior. We've discussed these and we're getting to the inferior function. This is the foundation we have been exploring throughout this series. However, systems like objective personality add another layer. They suggest that some people may have the parent and child functions switched. These are called jumper types. Instead of focusing only on hero, parent, child, and inferior, objective personality describes functions as either savior functions, which you have two of, or demon functions. We will explore that system much later in the series. For now, the important function is understanding that your functions exist in relationships. Your personality is not just about having certain functions. It is about how those functions interact. So today we explored the child function. We learned that the child is not about being immature. It represents the part of your personality that seeks enjoyment, curiosity, exploration, and affirmation. The child brings energy into your life, but like any child, it benefits from guidance. The parent provides wisdom. The child provides enthusiasm. And healthy growth happens when the parent parents the child. And next time, we are going to explore the function that many people find the most uncomfortable, the inferior function. This is often the part of ourselves that creates insecurity, frustration, and fear. But it also is where some of our greatest opportunities for growth can be found. Because sometimes the biggest breakthroughs in life do not come from strengthening the parts of ourselves that are already strong. They come from learning to understand and integrate the parts we have been avoiding. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Your Life Code. If you enjoyed this episode, consider subscribing and joining us as we continue building a deeper understanding of personality, one function, one idea at a time. And remember, keep exploring, keep understanding, and keep becoming. I'll see you in the next episode.